I don't have a guitar because I'm not recording in my office right now. So here's today's musical segment. Oh yeah, Chiral.
Yeah.
Fucking best record ever. This is me just kind of showing off like my fucking music nerdness.
Mm-hmm.
Ever heard of Sun House?
No.
Okay, well you should. Everybody
Okay.
here should
Well,
know
I
Sun
have
House.
now.
Yes. Blues musician back in the old days. Sun House has this really good song called "Grinning in Your Face." It is just his powerful, pristine, amazing vocals and him clapping along to it. It is
Hmm.
just a simple spiritual. Well, I don't even know if you can really call it a spiritual. I have an spiritual experience listening to it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's that simple, and it is fucking orchestral in my eyes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm Youth Miss Orion, and I'm Schmo,
I'm Cairo, and I'm a Schmo.
and welcome to Psy.
I had a cool thing last night. I
What?
didn't mention. Uh, whitest. This is like the whitest event I probably could have gone to. Right. So my parents are friends with a guy who has a small brewery.
Okay, pre-white already. Got it.
Yeah. A few years ago, they would have a December fest sort of thing in December, but December ended up being too cold and not enough people were showing up, so they started moving it to October, but they still call it Decemberfest. I helped out checking IDs for the event last night and got to basically get in for free.
Okay.
So I got to see they had music from a couple of local people and food and drinks and stuff. So it was just some got to see some free local music. So that was cool. A couple of groups. The big one was it Fat Animals is pretty local to like the Battle Creek area, I think, but they're really good.
Huh.
It's like was it five people, but they're awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Well, that is
I
badass.
rate it.
Guess what I did last night?
What's that?
I went to go see fucking Bob Dylan.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty white. That was the weirdest thing too, because like Bob Dylan's show is
Yo.
very bluesy.
Yeah.
Fucking weirdly weird. Because like there's like a lot of people. I wouldn't call like blues music the pinnacle of white music, but it was
Yeah.
like the demographic was very all over the place because of that.
He has so many names. What the
Who?
hell?
Bob Dylan?
Bob Dylan. You know what? Take a guess. Let me count real quick. How many names do you think he has listed on his Wikipedia page? Either aliases, other names he's gone by, or like names he's performed under.
Is it more than he has children? 'Cause he has 7 children, I think.
Yes, it is more than he has children.
Oh my god, what is this?
Oof. You don't take a guess.
Fucking 10?
14.
Motherfucker.
There's quite a few of them that are a bit derivative, but not all of them. Apparently, he had a stint as Blind Boy Grunt for a while. And also just Sergei Petrov. I don't know what's up with that.
Is that Slavic face that I'm seeing there?
I don't know.
Oh, Anyway, we go to see Bob Dylan last night, and he's doing this whole show behind the piano because he's fucking
Mm.
82.
Yeah, that's what I was curious to see because I was like, man, isn't he dead? But no, he's just really old.
Yeah, no, I actually took out ticket insurance because I was almost certain he would die before my show.
That's great.
If Bob Dylan dies within 24 hours of this recording, I'm going to get fucking crucified. Anyway, so we go see him. He's behind the piano. The thing is, it's very hard because we're in the fucking nosebleeds to see
Yeah.
Bob Dylan. So we're in the nosebleeds, and we like lights go out, and then the musicians take stage, and I can't tell which one's Bob Dylan. I'm assuming it's one of the people with the guitar because he's known as playing a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just vamping for a little bit. Cool
Yeah.
thing they did, and I wish more musicians did this. In fact, I might steal this on my next fucking album because I like this so much. They had like this little orchestral sample play. I don't know what the sample is from, but the sample ends with them playing this really long chord,
Mm-hmm.
and the band comes in and plays the same exact chord as they like fade in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just interesting because like you have this orchestral sound just fade into the band. You can kind of see like this meeting place.
Yeah,
Really fucking beautiful. It was like
that's cool.
enlightening to me. I never thought of something like that. Um, and then they vamp for a few hours, and then you see like this old figure just hobble on stage in a white hat. I'm like, that's Bob. Hi,
Yep.
Bob. um, the whole show is just like the most chill show I've been to in a while. It was the kind of thing where I wish I smoked weed because it probably would have been a lot better high. Uh, I think the tempo never really got past like 120. That's how slow it was. Um, so we're watching the show, and Bob is just vehemently stuck on this piano. All he does is play piano the whole night, with his little background band. Last song comes on, and for the end of it, he ends with a fucking harmonica solo, which was everybody erupted into cheers because he's a good harmonicist, harmonica player. He doodles well on that thing, and he just fucking nails it. It's like the one thing on the whole show that like breaks the whole theme. And he gets like a standing ovation. Everybody's asking for an encore. There's this dude behind me saying he wants a 20-minute rendition of one of his songs, Hurricane, as like the
Mm-hmm.
encore. And I'm like, dude, he's fucking 82. He's going to go home and he's going to get some warm milk and go to bed. Maybe FaceTime the grandchildren. I don't know. He's fucking Bob Dylan. I don't know what he wants out of life. And like we stand there for like a good 10 minutes, no encore. I knew it wasn't coming. I just couldn't leave
Mm-hmm.
my seat because we were stuck.
Yeah.
And everybody like ceremoniously gets pissed by no encore, which again, the man was 82. He's 82.
He's old, yeah.
When he did his bows at the end of it, he couldn't stand up straight. That's how old we're talking. So, my message is please leave Bob Dylan the fuck alone. Just a little. As well, parking, getting out of the parking lot for that show, absolute nightmare. Worst time I've ever had in a parking space.
Mm.
Like we were in the bottom, like we had 3 layers to our parking thing. We had our space in the bottom, so we had to go all the way up. Fucking Bruce Lee game of death shit. Go to each floor and try to overcome a new challenge. We're stuck in the bottom for 40 minutes because the top rows are refusing to let us come up.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sitting there for a good 40 minutes. Eventually, someone from the fucking city of Grand Rapids had to come and direct traffic throughout that whole thing because of how backed up it was getting. It is a firm reminder to me that humanity cannot fucking exist unless governed. Because that was fucking anarchy, and there was this dude in a blue Toyota who kept trying to fucking cut me off and break my spot in line. No, Mr. Toyota man, fuck off. But yeah, my night was miserable after that point. Everybody should be really happy that I'm here after the show because, quite frankly, I don't want to. I just want to go back to bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always frustrating at the end like that.
Yeah, dude. I like even said to my girlfriend because like I don't expect Bob Dylan to do an encore. Let's leave like 2 songs before the end or something like that so we can get a head start on traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ends earlier than we fucking thought 'cause he doesn't speak to us the whole night. He'd pretty much like ignored the audience, or at least I couldn't understand if he was talking to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just, oh my gosh, it was a weird show, man. But like,
Yeah.
it's Bob Dylan, so you can get the fuck. I'll get over it because it was fucking Bob Dylan. Anyway, did we miss anything that happened last week? Anything big happen?
We, I wouldn't say missed, but there was definitely some some slow motion tragedies that unfolded over the last few weeks.
Oh, that shit in the East from the economic empire that's trying to
Mm-hmm.
kill us all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
The Pokemon
not gonna
Company?
be. They won't be stopped. Progress moves on. Detective Pikachu returns.
Oh no.
Truly a masterclass, a masterclass of how not to make a detective game.
Yeah.
And most importantly, the thing that really, because normally we don't talk a ton about video games, especially video games that we like don't like.
Oh, if we talked about games that we do like, I think I'd be a little happier on this podcast.
But this one is really remarkable, and push me to want to bring this up because the reviews are fascinating to see people's perspectives on it. Um, in terms of like user reviews, there's not a ton. Apparently, it's selling fine in Japan, but pretty much nowhere else. But right now on Metacritic, there's a whopping 6 reviews. Only one of them actually is like someone taking time to actually think about it. um, but I want to go through them all because they're very funny. So we have a we'll go bottom to top. All right. So here's the zeros. Ugly and poor gameplay. Wake up, Nintendo, please. Abysmal. We have a 2 with Don't let the critic reviews fool you. This is one of the most brain dead and boring waste of $60 ever produced. With a 4, it says point, click, read, walk around, repeat. Oh, and occasionally you need to tap A repeatedly. This is a waste of time. I assumed it would be better, but it's hard to stay awake. Don't waste your money. Even kids will find it boring. And then we have 2 10s. These are the real bangers.
Ooh, I'm
So
so ready.
one of them just says Pikachu.
No.
That is it. 10 out of 10, Pikachu.
Justify your fucking score,
The
dumbass.
other,
Yeah.
I think, was written by a bot.
Or an AI.
It's not coherent enough for an AI.
Damn.
10 out of 10. Detective Pikachu returns to Tim Goodman with Pikachu, quote, 21 years old, end quote. Something last 2018 prequel 3DS games Family Fathers. Harry Goodman Mewtwo, great job. Looking, but some continues next chapter. 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Funny as those are. What I really wanted to talk about though was the actual like the critic perspective on it because for some reason there's like actually positive reviews for this that I don't get because I feel like this has to be people who like played 2 hours of the game and then stopped because they're reviewers and they have other things to do, or they didn't play it at all because it does not make sense. The actual story for Detective Pikachu Returns is almost word for word, beat for beat, the exact same as the Detective Pikachu movie that released 4 years ago.
You mean the
Which,
cinematic masterpiece that even Scorsese loves?
yeah, which is a problem because that movie did really well. So it's not like they can just, cheat on trying to reuse the same thing because no one's seen it. Anybody who's going to be picking up the Detective Pikachu video game has probably seen the Detective Pikachu movie at this point.
Yeah.
And then it is also a worse telling of that story, where it is the twists are much more obvious from the start, and the presentation of it is just generally worse, being told in this sort of like mystery point and click adventure format. It does not work.
So
The
what you're
other part that,
oh sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
So you're saying we could corner the market on adorable mascot detective games?
Well, that's the thing though, is that like Nintendo already did. They've done this. They have the good detective games. Layton, Ace Attorney, those things exist already. They know what to do. They just didn't do it here.
I'm pretty sure those aren't Nintendo. I think that's someone else.
Well, yes, they're not made by Nintendo, but they are strongly associated with Nintendo consoles.
Facts.
So their peers have laid the groundwork for them.
But they don't have the cute marketable mascot. Hear me out, right? You know what just went to public domain this year?
What's that?
Winnie the fucking Pooh.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
So, as long as we don't do the red shirt Disney one, because apparently Disney owns a trademark on the red shirt design, Winnie the Pooh, homicide detective. Every time there's a fucking murder and they get Pooh on the case, he just goes, "Oh, bother."
Another dead stripper. Oh bother.
See, exactly. It just rates its fucking self. We're talking about going beyond the 100-acre wood. We're going to fucking what worst case? Fucking Winnie the Pooh tracks down the Zodiac killer.
That would be good.
Thank you, thank you. We literally do that as the premise of the game. Now, I know we have investors listening, and I will put my contact information in the description so you can fund our game. So please, Winnie the Pooh, homicide. No, sorry. What is a good name for this? What is a good name?
100 acre whodunit.
Ooh. Who done it? Anchorwood?
I'm not sure how best to put it in there, but I feel like there's got to be something with
There's
100 acre
something
wood.
here. Fuck it. Investors, when you call us, we will hire people to make a better name.
Yes. Give us your money so that we can then point it at the people who actually do the work.
We are literally running a crypto scam right now. That is
Yeah.
exactly how it worked. Anyway, where were we? Oh, yes, Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu
Before
returns.
we made the better idea.
Yeah. So the critic reviews on this are really frustrating because it feels like a lot of this is like walking on eggshells around Nintendo and the Pokemon Company for not much reason. Um, the prevailing opinion of them is that the idea of Rhyme City is cool, where it's this Pokemon place where Pokemon aren't being used for fighting, right?
Yeah.
That is a good idea. But past that, anything related to the story itself, the gameplay, and any criticisms that you might have of it, including like graphically, are almost universally dismissed as, you know, kids won't notice, or this is for younger audiences, etc., etc. And as a former child myself, I can tell you, kids fucking notice. They're not stupid.
Wait. You were a kid once?
I know. It's hard to believe.
What the fuck? I thought you were always just this grumpy, like, young adult. That's how I met you. You did not have a spark of innocence in your goddamn eyes.
It has been many moons, but I promise at some point. But no, this is a terrible game to either introduce people to Pokemon, to introduce people into mystery games, or to introduce people into video games as a whole. It's awful at all of those. It has a story that was already told better not that long ago by a better medium. The story that is told here is bad and not entertaining. The gameplay sucks when it exists, because often it doesn't. And the detective elements of it are not only just bad on their own right, but they're not representative of the genre. There's so many better detective games for children, like the fuck Mystery Frog. Is that what it is? I can't think of what it's called. Frog Detective. Frog Detective, banger game series, very accessible, but actually like has you do detective work. Or if you really want to do it, just go play like Myst, play the original shit that came out 30 years ago. It's still just all point and click adventures, but they're way better thought out than this, and you get your money's worth. This is a full price game.
So, one thing I did want to point out, because we haven't talked about this yet, but you
Mm,
and I have talked about this.
yes.
This game was announced before the fucking pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2019. And we've heard about how much problems the Pokemon Company, Game Freak, have had meeting their development schedules in order to get stuff like Scarlet and Violet out on the timelines that they need to for their release cycles. And it wouldn't surprise me if side games like Detective Pikachu Returns ended up getting the short end of the development stick as a result of that, as they had to pull people off of these projects to actually make the deadlines on the other ones, or just development resources in general, even if it isn't literal manpower, because it is the only thing that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
In combination with the pandemic, and I believe it was also delayed. Maybe not delayed, but like they announced it in 2019,
They did
right?
not give like an any date of like when to expect it.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
but
just
it's
came
it's
out.
Detective Pikachu Returns. You really expect us to think you wanted to wait 4 years to put this thing out when they had the major movie release in between?
Oh yeah. There was two generations of fucking Pokemon that came out before
Hmm.
Detective Pikachu came out.
Hmm.
That's
And the
wild.
the big part, well, not even just that, two generations and a spinoff.
Yeah.
um, an important piece to note about this is that the original Detective Pikachu game was released for the 3DS. This is now a Switch game, and a lot of the your commentaries is comparing it to the original Detective Pikachu game about how much better the graphics are, and I'd fucking hope so, right? They've had 5 years and an entire console generation, and it just does not look like they've made use of that in pretty much any way.
Yes.
Beyond that, the greatest sin of this detective game is that it is a mystery game that you can't fail. There is no way to not solve the mystery.
You know, even Persona 4 lets you fuck up. Persona
Mm-hmm.
4 will let you fuck up so spectacularly, you can actually end up joining the killer by mistake.
Yeah, we are not allowed to have consequences in the world of Pokemon. Can you imagine that? Imagine if they put out a mainline Pokemon game where you can't lose the battles.
That's
What a
interesting.
creative triumph that would be.
Tour de force, really.
Yeah. Pioneers of the genre. Perfect for introducing new players. Um, yeah, this game looks abysmal. I recommend watching it. Watch someone else play it. Don't spend your money on it. I will give it credit though. At every single turn, it manages to find the dumbest possible response to the situation that they present.
How so?
Where okay, so towards the end of it, where they're breaking into this like science lab thing, and Pikachu's made all his Pokemon friends along the way, and you're getting towards what is like the obvious final boss encounter. They have to keep making up new reasons for the obviously much stronger Pokemon you've met along the way to suddenly not be with you anymore when you go to confront the final boss fight, sort of thing, because they would trivialize it. Where it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, we're being chased now. We have to stay behind. Go, Pikachu, and people you are with. We'll take care of them. And then they do that like literally 4 times, I think. There's multiple sections in a row towards the end of that chase. Like, I hate to even call it a chase scene because there's no tension. But one, I think it's a Darmanitan that you partner up with.
Okay.
Maybe that's not quite right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Point is that it lets you push things around or break things when Pikachu's working with it. And they have this sequence where you're in the lab and you have to bust your way through. It's something like 12 identical sets of wooden box walls to progress, and they're all exactly the same.
That's
And
so
it's just
funny.
like press a button to do thing, and then you just go on to the next thing.
It sounds like this is just all game, no design.
I don't even know. It's hard to even call it a game.
Okay.
It's like light interactive novel for $60 level. And the mysteries are like the only thing that I will say for the mysteries is that if you are like an actual child, they probably wouldn't be quite as obvious. But if you are anybody who has any semblance of deeper knowledge about the Pokemon world, they are trivial. Where it's like literally the problems you're presented is there's ice in the way. I wonder what can get rid of the ice. And then it's like, oh, look, a fire Pokemon. I wonder what we'll do with that level of design.
Love it.
It's remarkable.
Why
Uh,
not? It sounds like one of those games they would make for like a Leapster back in the day.
yeah, but like, I don't even think it's that level of quality. It's worse than edutainment because at least that, like, you do learn something at the end.
I know, dude. I think we learned the real mystery was the friends we made along the way.
I mean, that is literally the point of the game.
Is it?
Yeah,
That's really upsetting me.
it's like, let's solve the mystery. Oh, look, we have all of Pikachu's friends, and I think his name's Tim, his not girlfriend. We've solved the mystery and found his father. There's also a weird, like, I don't even know what to call it, divorce arc in it where Pikachu, because I'm like, everybody knows the whole point of the fucking thing, right? It's obvious that Tim's dad is missing and his dad is inside the Pikachu, even though neither of them know it, right? We're on the same page there. So
Okay.
there's like 5 scenes in the game where Pikachu interacts in some way with Tim's mom, the wife of his dad, of course, and has like a PTSD black and white flashback, which is supposed to be him like regaining his memories. And there's this gigantic bait that they put into that, where they have a scene that plays out of Pikachu watching as Tim's dad tells his mom that he wants to get a divorce, which is
Wait.
out of nowhere at all.
Pokemon's talking about divorce? I feel seen.
And then it just goes nowhere. They do nothing with it. It's just like, oh, he was scared about something and he didn't want his family to get hurt, so he did whatever. Because they didn't actually get divorced. That just doesn't happen.
Fucking tease.
We also have the great scene that I sent you a picture of with.
Oh, you mean today's thumbnail?
Yes. Oh, is that what Thumbday's thumbnail is?
Yes, with Pikachu like in the abyss.
With the crashed car behind him.
Yes.
Yeah, so apparently what happens is that Tim's dad gets into a car crash, basically fucking dies, and Pikachu pleads for his life to Mewtwo in order to save him,
That's the
which Mewtwo
movie.
does. It's literally the movie, which Mewtwo does by obviously putting his dad's memories or what, no, not his dad's memories, it's like his dad's soul, I guess, because he very explicitly doesn't have his memories, into the Pikachu. But we get this amazing scene of like no texture black and white Pikachu on a PS1 rolling desert background. No road in sight for the car to have gone off of. Tim's
Honest.
dad laying in a pile on the ground behind Pikachu because I guess he wasn't wearing his seatbelt or something and he got ejected out the fucking window. It's brilliant. Poetry in motion.
It looks like a fucking shit post. I'm not
It
gonna
looks
lie.
like a shitpost. It looks so bad. Like you can count the polygons.
I don't even want to worry about counting the polygons. What gets me is the facial expression on Pikachu.
Yeah.
Like,
The other thing though,
yeah,
right, is
yeah.
that for me the like true nail in the coffin for this game's graphics is that it is like back to original Resident Evil levels, or no, not Resident Evil, Silent Hill levels. I guess Resident Evil 2, where if something is too far away, nothing spawns in at all. So you get scenes like this where it's like an environment that just immediately cuts off into blank white, except it's like that everywhere. Even when you're in the city, if you get an angle that's too far away, you can see it just goes into white. There's nothing. It's like you're in the fog of Silent Hill.
That's it, actually. That's Pikachu
It,
when he
yeah,
accidentally finds himself in Silent Hill. That's the
yeah.
thumbnail.
Pikachu encountering the Pyramid Head, pleading for his life before he gets murdered violently. So yeah, Detective Pikachu returns. It sure is, by the strictest definitions only, a video game.
I do like how you use the controller to control Detective Pikachu. I feel like that's a very central part of the experience.
Yeah.
Do you think
Man,
next time they'll have like more graphics?
God. I hope to God there's not one. Next time, to be clear.
Damn.
Like what I don't know what they plan to do with this, right? Has there ever been like what was the last time a non-mainline Pokemon game did well? Like there are plenty that have been good, but has there ever been a Pokemon game without battling that was actually well received?
I guess you could argue Legends Arceus was technically supposed to be a spin-off, but it does have battling.
Right. I mean, it is definitely not mainline. That's what I was kind of like trying to lean towards there because you have like Lessons Arceus, the GameCube games, the Pokken
Pokken
Battlers.
did very well apparently. It had a like tournament scene and everything.
Yeah, those are good games, but they all are focused on the Pokemon versus Pokemon fighting. Like
Well,
we have like the original Pokemon Snap, I think would be good,
yeah,
would count for that.
there was the
And
sequel Snap. That was.
the sequel is a good game, not well received though.
You don't think so?
No, I mean it was reviewed well, but I don't think it was like financially successful.
Let me check that real
I'd be
quick.
surprised if it was. I heard a bunch of people talk about it when it released, and it was like, oh yeah, this is cool, and then nothing.
That is exactly how I felt about it, though. I agree with you on
Because
that.
it's like, yeah, it's Pokemon Snap for the Nintendo Switch. It's cool. What else?
Snap sold 2.4 million copies as of December 2021.
I am surprised to hear that.
One of those 2.4 million copies is right in front of me. Let me check this.
Yeah, I'm surprised it broke a million, to be honest.
It did better than Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, a game re-release that Nintendo did only because it was considering Xenoblade to be one of the pillars of its next like big franchises.
Mm,
So Pokemon does still have a strong effect.
yeah, definitely seems that way. The thing that kind of tipped me off mostly for this though was digging into the Detective Pikachu Returns game,
Yeah,
looking at some of the people who worked on it. We talked about this before the show. They have worked on a ton of other Pokemon games that I have never heard of.
like what?
Pokemon Ranger.
Oh, you never heard Blade Ranger?
No.
It's
I
okay.
actually, now that I'm seeing it, I have seen it
Yeah,
before, but I completely forgot it existed.
it's all right. Like Ranger is a fun little side thing. I don't know how they made the concept split into multiple games.
Yeah. Pokemon Ranger, Shadows of Almia. I think that's where Pokemon definitely starts to break down the most, is when they start to get too much into the JRPG stuff.
Ouch.
They try to explain things, and they need to stop doing that because it never works out for them.
I mean, I think Pokemon's biggest strength is it can take JRPG ideas and then like
Mhm.
dumb them down so anybody can enjoy them.
Sure, I guess I mean more the like JRPG story stuff. Gameplay
Oh,
wise, it's fine, but once you like start to if when anybody starts to tell you about history in a Pokemon game, it's an immediate nosedive in my opinion.
really?
Yeah. It
I'm curious.
starts to just like with any like other than like this is the legendary Pokemon. It has existed for millennia. Look at these chalk drawings of it in a cave.
Have you? Do you know about the lore of Scarlet and Violet?
Yes,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Damn.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't think it's done well.
I think it's
I
done
would
very
rather
well.
not know it existed.
I mean, like it's totally optional in game though.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's good. But I feel like it just drags down the rest of it.
I'm shocked. I'm genuinely shocked because it's like one of my favorite things about that game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I'm not fond of it at all.
Like where does it go wrong for you?
It just takes the scale and the scope of it and completely changes it from what I think a Pokemon game should be. Where every mainline Pokemon game is fundamentally a coming of age story, right? And once you start to change the scope of that away from like there's an immediate threat that we have to deal with while this person is becoming, sort of an adult in their world, once it goes past that, it feels like it's crept out of the bounds of uh, suspension of disbelief for me.
I like how you interpret that. I do agree with the coming of age aspects.
Yeah.
At the same time, to me, these
Mm-hmm.
games are JRPGs.
Mm-hmm.
And while I agree with you, the coming of age stuff is a very powerful theme.
Yeah.
In fact, I you gave me a new appreciation for them just by
Mm-hmm.
kind of citing that to me. I still expect more from like writing in these games, and I will still be very picky about making sure that they have the
Mm-hmm.
proper writing.
For sure.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with that either.
yeah.
Um,
Because like the
I don't know. It's like it's a time and a place thing for me, right? Like I would love to see more hardcore Pokemon JRPGs following some of the side characters that we see, right?
Mhm.
Like what is it? Teller is like the international cop, I think.
Oh, Looker.
Looker, yes. Like give me a Looker mystery game.
There's
And then
good.
you can tell me, the fucking geopolitics of the Sinnoh region for all I care. Because Looker is somebody who I would expect to give a shit about that, not a 12-year-old child.
So did you like Black and White?
Nah, the reasons I disliked Black and White were not its story
Okay,
as much as its changes it made to the gameplay.
well you're objectively wrong, but I will respect your opinion.
I was also like Jupiter then. Like when did Black and White release?
Like
I
2010.
should replay it now that they've brought out Black and White 2. 2010, yeah. So I was like, I was 14. No one should have taken my opinion seriously then. And I haven't played them since, to be clear.
Fair enough.
With Black and White 2 being a thing, though, I might look into that because that was where, for me, that was like where I hard stopped playing the games regularly because I was just like, no, I don't like the direction this is going, and I would rather spend my time doing other stuff.
Hmm. If you have contract contradictory
Hmm.
contradictory opinions on Pokemon, please put them in the comments. I am baiting for engagement. Thank you for noticing.
So the big news this week that I think we'll be able to very quickly wrap up, like the actual big news, because let's be honest, Detective Pikachu, not exactly international newsworthy. Um, through like how do you do this in like 10 words or less? Hamas executed Hamas executed terrorist attacks on Israel. Israel responded. Mm, in turn. There we go. That's 10 words.
What's a Hamas, and how do I put it on my pita chit?
Good question. Next question.
God damn.
Hamas is the was it Arab Muslim terrorist group operating within the region of Palestine who believes in the destruction of the Israelites. as is pretty common amongst, the ISIS and Taliban types.
Wow, they sound like a kind of whole bunch of jerks. I guess we have to
Yep,
defeat them.
they're pretty horrible.
Well, I
But
guess we have to just, spread the fire as far as possible.
yep, let's call for a mass evacuation of the entire northern half of Palestine in the next 48 hours. Nothing will go wrong. What's that? Things went wrong. Oh no. Yeah, this is the kind of situation where there is not a way to make, a short version of this, right?
No.
Um, the summary that I most strongly agree with, I saw over on Twitter, and this is like probably the best use of someone doing like a blue check mark thing, because this is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 24 paragraphs, probably about 10,000 words here. Maybe not quite that much. It's big, it's long. There is not a concise answer to this. Like, contrast it with the situation in Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
Where there are surface level parallels between the two. But in Ukraine, you have the very obvious uh, short term history between Russia and Ukraine because their history basically starts with the fall of the Berlin Wall and the collapse of the Iron Curtain. And you can really easily trace that to the current day and be like, yeah, Russia is in the wrong here. 100%. You can't do that with anything in the Middle East because all of the history of the Arabs and the Jewish people go back like three ish, probably like 5,000 years. And it's all murky as fuck. Who had what land and who took that land from who, and back and forth for wars and empires and collapses of empires for thousands and thousands of years.
You mean things happened before the US?
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Please explain this in US terms for me, please.
Um, no.
Damn.
And yeah, the whole thing, the the only take that I'm going to give on this is that innocent people dying is bad,
Lies.
and the whole thing sucks. And what was it I saw? It's a situation where the only humane solution is something that neither side is willing to accept, and because of that, that's something I don't even want to talk about. There's so much misinformation around it, and it's made even worse by just how cartoonishly evil the real reality of it is.
it it's amazing to me because like slacktivism and how it like
Yeah.
kind of shows up online from time to time.
Yeah.
The sheer amount of people just hearing the basic narrative and picking a side off that
Mm-hmm.
scares me. And like what
Oh,
terrifies me a
very big.
lot is that if you have a nuanced opinion of it,
Yeah.
so much as a little bit, it like contradicts so much of that worldview from the black and white perspective.
I
Like,
will say,
yep.
as with everything, The Onion has the only objectively correct opinion on it.
What is it?
So The Onion has posted a number of pieces at this point related to the ongoing situation. But my favorite two are one from 2 days ago with The Onion stands with Israel because it seems like you get in less trouble for that. And the
Damn.
whole article is really good. It's obviously The Onion. But yeah, that's the gist of it. And then they have another one today that is dying Gazans criticized for not using last words to condemn Hamas.
That's so fucking funny.
And it's like that very well sums up the situation from, the Western perspective, I think.
Yeah, I think it sucks because like, and this is like an American thing in my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe this goes to Canada as well since they're kind of in a similar boat to us. We are so fucking young as a country
Hmm.
that we can reasonably sum up our country's history in like a few sentences. And I think because of that, American like understanding of the world is very easy to sum up in a few sentences because we usually don't have to think too far back to how something gets started in the U.S. And when we do that with other countries, it really does a disservice to us and like just trying to like critique or comment on a situation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's really shitty what we do to ourselves by that, and that we can't feasibly get like the full scope of history because of just we don't study it that hard.
Yeah. Here's another good one. Moderate U.S. politician believes Israel should only kill half of Palestinians.
That is also fucking epic.
Like that is what it feels like reading the mainstream news headlines.
It always scares me a little bit when I'm like going through Twitter now and I see like some celebrity posted a one sentence.
Oh my god.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. And I'm like, bro, or sister, whoever you are. No.
Wait, which one was it? We had fucking Justin Bieber posted praying for Israel over a picture of Gaza being just after Gaza was bombed, a picture of Gaza that was bombed.
Now,
And we had who was the other one? I
did
can't
you,
even fucking remember. Uh, Someone else posted basically the same thing, praying for Israel, sending love, whatever bullshit, with a picture of a bunch of Palestinians and their children.
it's really kind of like it, what's the
It's
show?
fucked.
Yeah, it's fucked
It's
up because
so fucked.
I don't know. I don't know, man. Like having an idea of what's going on there,
Hmm.
and seeing how people react to it, it
Yeah.
feels like I'm the crazy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it doesn't help that we live in a time where it's so easy for astroturfing to happen.
Oh yeah. Twitter has been so shitty during all this because it's either racism or fucking
Yep.
anti-Semitism
Yep.
that are fucking astroturfing the fuck out of this.
Yep. It sucks.
It really does.
You know what doesn't suck?
My vacuum needs to be
The
replaced.
UAW.
Oh,
Did you hear the thing that Sean Fain did this week?
go on.
This is per source at Ford. The union, UAW, Sean Fain, asked Ford this afternoon for a meeting at 5:30 p.m. with a new economic counteroffer. At the meeting, when Ford said they did not have one, Sean Fain stood up, said, "You just lost Kentucky Truck," and walked out.
Nice.
Absolutely based.
That is a power move,
And then, yeah, they shut down the Kentucky Truck plant.
as they should.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I like unions.
Mm-hmm. They work.
They do work. When there are the right people there.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, they need people who actually are interested in protecting their workers.
exactly. There's this one union for a warehouse that I was like, I worked at the company that owned the warehouse, but I wasn't under the warehouse union, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had like done this thing. This is my own speculation here, where I'm pretty sure they just bought off like the head of the union reps. So like the union did nothing to protect the actual workers.
Mm-hmm.
It was very impressive, really.
Yep. Some other good news this week. I mean, maybe not good news. That's a bit of a generous way to describe it. But the IRS made an announcement that they believe Microsoft owes an additional $29 billion in back taxes.
Ooh, that goes macro hard.
Mm-hmm. IRS has issued a $28.9 billion notice of proposed adjustments related to its allocation of profits between countries. Presumably, Microsoft had income in a lower tax jurisdiction that the IRS thinks should have been U.S. source income. Microsoft is appealing. And where was the other part of it? There was something in here I saw where it was pretty fucking damning for Microsoft that they basically were like, well, we don't believe we owe 29 billion. We think it's only more like 19, which is not making the situation better.
Honestly, I feel like they should just go for the 19 there immediately and then just fight for the other 2 billion. Like, th-
This was a statement from Microsoft. It is said up to $10 billion in taxes that the company already paid are not reflected in the proposed adjustment made by the IRS, which is like, okay, you're contesting 10 billion. What about the other 19? That's still a lot of money.
yeah. If they, I
Like,
mean,
this will be a fun exercise.
what's up?
Uh, tax paying adults, U.S. How
Oh
many people pay
no.
taxes?
I'm scared.
Uh, about, I don't care about households. How many? 168 million. So we do 29, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 billion and divide that by 168 million. That is another $172 per tax paying citizen in the US that Microsoft allegedly stole from each of them.
And this is why I'm a Nintendo guy. Oh, speaking of shitty things related to Microsoft, did you hear they finally got Activision Blizzard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not great.
I'm not a fan of this stage of capitalism.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an arms race. Just gotta wait and see who Sony buys next. Maybe it'll actually be Nintendo.
I kind of doubt that. Like,
Yeah,
from
almost
what,
definitely not.
yeah, from what I understand, it's like Microsoft and Sony right now are just buying studios so the other other company can't
Yeah.
have them.
Yep.
And then
That's exactly it.
Nintendo, being fucking Nintendo, I get the feeling are spending more of their stuff like producing more entertainment out of their IPs. Because like you
Yes.
have Super Nintendo Land, you have the fucking movies that they're making now.
Mm-hmm.
You're definitely seeing a lot more licensed products. It's really interesting to me to see Nintendo swerve into like just reinforcing their barriers instead of spreading out their feelers. Because again, they really don't care about fucking competing with Sony or Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It,
interesting.
it is remarkable to me how poorly the average, media company in general is able to leverage their brands into other forms of media. Like, there's been a lot of talk in the Magic the Gathering space with this Magic the Gathering Netflix show that is just never materialized.
Oh yeah,
It's been
Netflix
in
just
production
sucks
for
in
like,
general in production lately. But go on.
well, but yeah, but on the other hand, you have stuff like it was Edge Runner, the Cyberpunk
Yeah,
people made. That's great. That was fantastic, and they just nobody else is able to do that. How many IPs does Sony or Microsoft have the licensing to that have they been able to actually pivot that into like a successful movie or TV show?
I can only think of The Last of Us, and that's it.
Yeah, look at the Uncharted movie,
I forget that thing
or
even came
better
out.
yet, don't, because it's an abomination.
40% of an abomination, according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Is it that low?
Yes.
Good. It deserves so much worse. Audience score of 90%. Man, that makes me sad.
Consume. Consume.
What does the audience say? I would be very curious to know the percentage of people who saw this movie that are fans of the individual actors in the movie compared to fans of the game.
Consume.
Statistics will never get. In other news, the GOP shot themselves in the foot. Did we talk about this last time?
I mean, I
Was
remember
it
we
was it
talked about
news?
this in 2016, but go on.
I'm just going back here because I can't remember if it had happened yet.
I don't think it did.
I'm not sure. Would have been no, I don't think it we did either. So where is this? Oh yeah, it was on the third. Um, because of if we go back all the way to January of this year, the Republicans struggled to get a vote through in the House of Representatives electing a Speaker of the House, their majority
Hark.
leader. Something like 16 votes on the floor in order for it to happen. And a contingency of, uh, I can't remember the dude's name.
McCarthy?
Thank you. A contingency of McCarthy's being elected in order to get the real shittiest members of the GOP on board was that they had to agree that at any point, if an individual member of the Republican Party did not agree with how McCarthy was running the Senate or running the House of Representatives, they could trigger basically a vote of no confidence.
God, they really should not have done that.
And following the budget being passed through the House of Representatives, the short term spending bill through November, I believe it was Matt Gaetz went up, loaded that gun, and shot the Republican Party in the foot by instigating a vote to remove McCarthy from acting Speaker of the House. And it was something like 208 vote. Let me see if I can find this. I had the number before. 216, 208 Democrats, all the Democrats, and 8 Republicans voted to remove McCarthy as Speaker of the House. So
Wow.
now the House of Representatives does not have a speaker. And the Republicans have to figure out who the next one's going to be because McCarthy has basically just wiped his hands of it and said, figure it out your fucking selves.
Based.
I don't even know what you call it. The news being cycled around with this has been incredible with all the finger pointing from Republicans in particular about how this is somehow Biden's fault has been delicious because it obviously isn't. This was an action started that was because Republicans couldn't agree and was brought up because Republicans continued to not agree. And now we're in the situation back where we were in January, where there has been at least two Republicans nominated for House Speaker, and neither of them has gotten anywhere near actually being elected. I mean, elected is a strong word to describe it. Um, Nominated, even. Earlier this week, we had talk that Steve Scalise, who I've never heard of before now, was nominated by the Republicans to be put to a vote. Except we're obviously back in the situation that they were in January, where it's the Republicans have such a razor thin margin that even like we saw when he was removed, 8 people disagreeing would cause a vote to not go through because the Democrats are obviously going to vote against it.
Yeah.
So they had Steve Scalise uh, nominated earlier this week by I could have sworn oh I accidentally closed a tab. Can I pull this one back? I missed that line. It's very funny. Um, it was something like 110 to 90 of the Republicans. That's 90 Republicans voted against Scalise being the nominee, and that was still who they had as the forerunner, and it was turned down because Scalise backed out. Um, There's a great piece from AOC on Twitter where she said, I think somewhere in House rules it allows the acting Speaker pro tempore to do the Michael Scott I declare bankruptcy thing and just give Dems the gavel. That's probably what's best for everyone at this point.
Really? Because, like, what pisses me off is that my tax money is going towards these, like, fucking dick measuring contests.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
not
really stupid.
it's not even like the normal dick measuring contest where it's like, a blue dick versus a red dick.
Yeah,
It's like it's just two red dicks and they're both miserable and
yeah.
flimsy.
Oh yeah, it is remarkable how little the Republican Party is able to agree on anything at this point.
They're just no, they agree on shit. It's just that one half doesn't
No,
agree
they
with the other
don't.
half.
They don't at all.
Oh, come on. You're telling me I'm making more of a joke about MAGA versus
I
like
know.
GOP, but
Did you catch the Trump speech earlier today,
there was one today.
where he was reading off of a teleprompter and he apparently couldn't see it very well, and he said Republicans eat their own young, or eat their young. He was trying to say eat their own, but he read it wrong and didn't realize what he was saying.
Wait, I'm looking this up.
I believe that's what it was. I only saw it on Reddit, so it could be wrong.
I want this to be real. Oh my god, Daily Mail going for the Hail Mary. Do we
Yep, the
have an
Hill has it too.
does do we have a clip? Do we have a clip?
Former President Trump said Tuesday fellow GOP candidates eat their young by working with Republicans like former Speaker Paul Ryan and Senator Mitt Romney to attempt to thwart Trump's presidential run. Oh, if Romney and Rhino Paul fought as hard against Obama as they do against President Donald J. Trump, they would have never lost.
If we get
But
copyright
remember,
claimed for this, I'm going to be okay with that.
but remember, Republicans eat their young, and that's the problem with so many in our party. They go after the people who are on their side rather than the radical left Democrats that are destroying our country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on, give me what I want. Damn it. I can't find the voice clip. I will search for this, but we can
Oh,
continue
wait, I
making
think I
fun.
found it.
You got it? Send it to me. I'm going to play it over the show audio because I want this.
No idea if this is generated or not. I don't care. Here's a Twitter link.
Twitter, more like shitter. I'm waiting for it to load. I pay $80 a month for this Wi-Fi. Okay. I'm sorry, Kyril. You probably won't be able to hear this, but it's worth it for the show.
No, it's fine.
Yep. Okay.
But remember, Republicans eat their young. They really do. They eat their young. Terrible statement, but it's true.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
But remember, Republicans eat their young. They really do. They eat their
But
young.
remember,
Terrible
Biden's the one
statement,
that's
but it's
senile.
true.
I think they're both actually pretty senile, bro.
Yeah. I would disagree that Biden does. He's just, he's just old.
Yeah, like obviously some of the cognitive function isn't what it used to be, and
Right.
probably senile is a little bit of a bad term.
Yeah. They're both just too fucking old.
They need to go the fuck to sleep. Not like die, but more just referring to like go home and rest.
It's hilarious. Right now, reading about the ongoing situation with the Speaker of the House stuff, because they're number two, or I guess it'd be number three at this point. They're number three to be number three is Jim Jordan.
Who?
That is Jim protected pedophiles at, I believe, Ohio State. Jordan.
Oh, that Jim Jordan.
That Jim Jordan. And he's still nowhere near actually getting voted in. He had a secret ballot on Friday with 124 votes in favor of him, but with 81 against. So he has to somehow find, what would that be? 77 votes more to get people to actually agree with him. The Scalise vote, he's doing better than Scalise. Scalise only got up to 113. Jordan's found a whole 11 more votes.
Could I run for Speaker of the House?
So yes, technically there is no criteria. So the Speaker of the House is an entirely like made up role in the first place. It's
Yeah.
important to remember. It is not an official position. It is just something that the House has always done, so they plan to continue to do.
Gotta love the GOP and sticking to antiquated traditions.
Yeah.
Very in brand.
But technically, not only could anybody be nominated as Speaker of the House, they don't need one to do their work. They just, it works better having an individual to, have the authority to like call things to action and just generally run the show, but it's not strictly required. I do wonder if they fail to nominate a speaker long enough, if the Democrats are just going to start doing things on their own.
I
I
think
think
they'll
that'd be
just
very
start doing
funny.
shit.
It was just like, okay, nothing says we need a speaker. Let's start getting to business.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't think we should? Well, then elect a speaker to stop us.
But that's hard.
Earliest that the vote could take place will be Monday, the 16th of October.
So tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Spoiler alerts for when we record these episodes.
No way. This is amazing. So the Republicans have such a narrow control of the House. They need at least 217 Republicans to vote together in order to nominate someone. But right now, it says the Republican conference is also suffering from attendance issues with only 209 of the members attending.
You're fucking kidding me.
Like, that is a perfect example of how fractured they are, where they have 11, 12 people that just don't give enough of a shit to even show up for this thing.
Dude, that's like been their whole MO. And like, I'm not saying the Dems don't do this too, but like,
Yeah.
I think Trump was very emblematic of like how little some of these career politicians give a fuck. 'Cause he probably learned a lot from them. That
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't very much present during presidency.
Yep.
And I'm almost certain, like, every time we see like Mitch McConnell and Capitol Hill, it's probably like when he's actually there. And like if you don't see him in the news there, he's probably not there. You know what I mean? I'm convinced attendance has always been a fucking issue.
Yes, it absolutely is.
And if you elect me, the people of America, as your Speaker of the House, I will make sure that nothing changes. Everything's.
You know what else makes it hard to attend a Republican House vote?
What's up?
Being arrested and put in jail.
Who?
George Santos, charged with conspiracy, wire fraud, false statements, falsification of records, aggravated identity theft, and credit card fraud.
That's very impressive.
It's a hit list for sure.
So who is this person?
They are the United States Representative for the 3rd District of New York.
Very impressive.
Actually, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it says 3rd District, so I assume that's House of Representatives.
Yeah.
Because they only have 2 senators. Yeah. Allegedly filed fraudulent fundraising reports with the FEC in order to obtain financial support for his campaign and repeatedly charged the credit cards of campaign contributors without authorization.
Nice.
As one is inclined to do, he then proceeded to whine about it on Twitter because his Republican colleagues started to talk about the possibility of removing him from office. Because remember, he's still a congressman during this.
Well,
Remember, if I'm in fact ousted, fascism will be officially well and alive in the United States of America, and these members will be the champions of it. I'm done with the hypocrisy and the projection coming from the same individuals for the last 10 months.
Oh, go eat a dick.
Hashtag political warfare does not scare me. I find my strength in God, and with Him in my life, all is possible.
I'm pretty sure God also said it was impossible. It was more possible for a camel to go through a needle thread than to go to fucking heaven when you're rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did say something like that.
It do
I
be
do love the
Bibled.
idea that he's just like, I would love to see him get up in front of the judge and be just like, no, I didn't steal those credit cards. That was God that told me those numbers. I just typed them in.
Whoa. How has no televangelist like scam artist ever used that defense?
I would not be surprised. I mean, so the problem with that, right, is that it's not illegal for people to send you money, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's regrettably still easier to just tell poor people to give you their money because God says so.
So if you're a poor person in our audience, I'm going to need you to start paying the piper.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
You see, I wants to make more money,
Mm-hmm.
and you wants to get to heaven. We can make a
Well,
deal.
you see, reach across the aisle. We've got great money making opportunities from
What?
good old Bob Menendez.
Oh God, not him.
Because it's been a wild week where we talked about this before, where
Yeah.
Menendez was charged with a number of uh, crimes related to his accepting various bribes in exchange for preferential treatment and information to, I believe, Egypt. This week, he has officially been charged with acting as a foreign agent on behalf of the Egyptian government.
Good. This
I
is a
love
good
this.
week. I
There's
don't
a
know why I was
person who
so.
tweeted. They said prosecutors say the head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee was an agent of Egypt from 2018 to 2022. All caps. Seems bad.
Yeah.
It's not great. Not a good look.
Well, he's got a place where he can always hide.
I hear they've got some great real estate available near the Gaza border.
Oh, fuck you. That's good.
No one's trying to take it.
Well, wait, Menendez. Of course he's not Palestinian. He'll be fine.
The last little piece of corruption-y news tidbits that we had this week, because there was just a nice little stream of them. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders is now in the face of a audit over a $19,000 lectern that she claims was made for her. This was a real doozy. It's stupid as hell. So, Sarah Huckabee Sanders is the governor, Republican governor of Arkansas. Um, the allegations here is that she wanted to have a trip in Paris with some of her friends and decided to try and find a way in order to get the government to pay for it. But they wouldn't, government wouldn't, of course, because why would you? So she invoiced a lectern made by one of those friends for $19,000 in June, just before the trip. Just before the trip. And this is a great little summary here of the 6 reasons why this fucked up. First, she put it on a state issued credit card, which is dumb because it makes it under a lot more oversight, and they are often tax exempt, which require additional documentation to be filed. She then lied about it when asked by reporters, saying that it was paid for with private funds and not taxpayer money, but said credit card
Dumbass.
receipts show otherwise. Then she claimed this was all just a mix up and that the lectern cost was already repaid from private funds, but the move sorry, the moves to move that money didn't happen until after that reporter had started to question her. Then, Sanders called a special Senate of the Arkansas State Legislature in order to roll back the state's transparency and freedom of information laws. Specifically, she wanted the governor's travel and security funding and arrangements to be secret and undiscoverable by the public, claiming that she feared for her kids' safety. Then she showed the reporters what the new lectern was. I'll send you this picture here if I can. Yeah. Copy image. This is her new lectern.
Okay.
Claimed to have received it or paid for it in June of this year. Looks remarkably similar to this lectern that she had at her inauguration in January of this year.
Mm, here's the thing about that Kyrol. In her inauguration, there is an emblem on there. Looks
Mm-hmm.
like attached via some Velcro.
Mm-hmm.
That is very much not the same lectern because if you look at the new one,
Mm-hmm.
there's just Velcro there.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
emblem at all. It's completely different.
Yeah. Also, if you take a very close look, you will see that she is standing behind it at the inauguration. She is not standing behind it in this photo, and therefore that diminishes the value. So it
Mhm.
could be a totally different one.
So the sixth point to it is that she then apparently instructed staffers and aides to start altering paperwork to make it look like the enforcement plan was intended all along, and that is not how it works because they have the records of it. And I'd also like to point out that she has put her the for those who haven't seen it, it is a wooden lectern with exposed, just varnished wood panels on the side, and in wherever this chamber is, they have at least three different types of wood paneling now because of that lectern, which is unfortunately not a crime, but it is very cringe.
I do not like this lectern at all.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It looks like an
Does it
asset
look
in a
like a
Unity game.
$19,000 lectern to you?
Is it made out of solid wood?
I have no idea.
Because that looks like it's two separate pieces to me, like the base and then the top. Either way, I'm not paying that. My
Nope,
taxes shouldn't go to paying that.
nope. Unless you live in Arkansas, then they did.
Damn. You know, I like Michigan and all, but like it's really hard to like come up with a government scam artist trick because
Mhm.
our voters aren't fucking crazy yet.
Eh, I wouldn't quite go that far. We saw all manner of crazy at the last during the last election.
Oh, you're talking about Dixon?
No, I was saying the people outside the vote counting centers chanting for them to
Oh,
like count the
fuck.
votes or whatever the fuck it
I
was.
forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, cuz like oh my god.
the
Like
crazy is alive and well.
crazy is very alive and well. I'm just saying like we don't let the crazies get elected as often here.
True.
Yeah.
We're better about keeping them out of office so far.
So far. Like, just for all you to know, like, so everybody should know Betsy DeVos, right?
Yes. Oh yes.
Yes. So Betsy
Queen
DeVos
crazy.
had a puppet that was going to run for governor of our state, Tudor Dixon.
Hmm.
Um, fucking Tudor Dixon sets off my uncanny valley every time I look at her. Tell me you do not see that.
Let me see this.
Look at that. That's an AI generated person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very weird.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. So like we had to watch Big Gretch go up against Tudor Dixon. Wait, why are there new headlines? Oh my god. She's still doing shit.
Of course so. Got to go for the next election cycle.
Yeah. Oh my god. Tudor Dixon says Trump advisor to talk differently about abortion.
Hmm.
Well, say what you want about Trump, but he does know how to people please.
I am very glad that I am a bit disappointed that she only lost by 10 points, but that's still a pretty good margin, all
Yeah.
considered.
Like I was legitimately terrified for a little bit, like
Yeah.
that she could be our governor because Tudor Dixon is a bad choice, and she is obviously just two Betsy DeVosses in a trench coat. Because she was going to fuck up our public education system. Did you ever see like her platform on that?
Sorry, what's that?
She was trying to fuck with our public education system in Michigan, like hardcore.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm reading about some of her opinions on Wikipedia here,
Oh, go on.
and this is one of those things where there wasn't really a question as to who I was going to vote for, so I didn't look into it too close. And oh boy, this is some real crazy shit. Let me see
what
it.
you got? What you got?
I was reading her stance on abortion first. This
Yes.
list is alphabetical. Dixon supports a ban on all abortions except solely when necessary to save the life of a pregnant woman and would oppose any exceptions for rape or incest. Goes on with saying that, quote, health of the mother and life of the mother are different, and that she does not believe the mother's health is a sufficient reason, in contradiction to her stated position
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
In an interview, she described the example of a 14-year-old girl raped by her uncle as a perfect example of an abortion that she believes should be prohibited, adding, a life is a life for me. In follow up interviews, she has repeated her belief that there should be no exceptions for victims of rape and incest.
She's so great.
Yeah,
It
very
scares
consistent.
it scares me she got that far.
In a June 2020 episode of her America's Voice live show, Dixon said, quote, our kids are not at risk of catching COVID-19. When Gretchen Whitmer brought this up during an October 22 debate, Dixon denied making the comment, saying, my own children have had COVID, so I would never say that.
She barely even understands what half the things she says.
Incredible.
We could have
Uh,
died.
what are her thoughts on education? Plans to found education savings accounts? Oh God. Which can hold funding for students to use on various options of schools. In order to establish education savings accounts, she has called for the repeal of the state's constitutional provision prohibiting public funding of private schools. The DeVos family shares this end goal, for which it has been advocating for years. Yeah, just a quick constitutional amendment.
Just
No
a quick
problem.
constitutional amendment. Make it so that parents can control the funding of schools.
Dixon proposed a piece of legislation that would ban teachers from talking about sexual orientation or gender identity with K through 3 students. She called for the resignation. Who the fuck is talking about sexual orientation with third graders? The fuck are these people on?
You see, it only works if you like to imagine the only people that would like to hang out with kids all day are like near convicted pedophiles.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's true. In June of 2022, Dixon spoke in support of a bill that would prohibit drag shows in public schools and, and permit parents and guardians to sue schools that host drag shows. And critics highlighted the lack of evidence for such events in Michigan schools. And they pointed out that drag shows were not defined in the bill. Oh, this person can get fucked 5 ways to Sunday. What a piece of shit.
Isn't she? Like, say what you will. We dodged a fucking bullet last year. Was it last year that we had our elections?
That was 3 years ago.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, it's 2020.
I'm going to die soon.
Yeah, it feels like it's been not quite like that, but it do be that way. Well, did you hear the other one about Michigan? There was a challenge by a number of Republican Michigan state congressmen claiming that the recently passed and now implemented constitutional amendments, including, I believe, the what would have been the implementation of the independent redistricting board, as well as the universal right to apply for an absentee ballot regardless of circumstance. They have now, many years later, challenged those constitutional amendments, claiming that. God, let me see if I can find it. It's very dumb. From what I understand, the idea is that they say a vote by the people is not enough to implement these amendments, and that they have to be voted on by the House, or they have to be like go through the House process because of some stupid reason.
I am waiting with bated breath.
Let me see if I can find this. Lawsuit. Yeah, here we go. This is a great headline. Using rejected independent state legislature theory, Michigan Republicans challenge voter approved constitutional amendments.
Whoa, 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 whoa! What fucking kind of theory?
Independent state legislature. It has the now many times debunked Republican legal crackpot theory that state legislatures, when it comes specifically to the matter of implementing voting within their states, are the only and the final authority as to what those voting measures should be, regardless of what measures they implement.
And
This is
these
brought up a number of times in more southern states where the Republican dominated legislatures attempted to set up laws that would effectively make it impossible for their party to ever be removed from office by obviously biased means. They were challenged into their Supreme Courts, and I believe it made it up to ultimately the federal Supreme Court, where it was ruled that the independent state legislature theory, which is based on some constitutional law or some constitutional wording, was obviously inaccurate because, of course, it is. It's based on like mad, like moon ravings level of legal theory.
and they still try to make bullshit out of critical race theory.
How many times did they file lawsuits? How many Kraken lawsuits got filed? And how many of them won? You can file whatever lawsuit you want. It's no guarantee that it goes anywhere. It just fucks up the system for everybody else that wants to use it.
That is true.
Yeah, on September 28th, Michigan Republican legislatures filed a federal lawsuit seeking to resurrect the rejected independent state legislature theory as a basis for nullifying two pro-voting constitutional amendments. The challenged amendments were enshrined in the Michigan Constitution via voter-approved ballot initiative petitions in 2018 and 2022, respectively. The GOP plaintiffs also challenged the future use of ballot initiative petitions that aim to enact amendments to the Michigan Constitution pertaining to the regulation of the times, places, and manner of federal elections, which is specifically what the Constitution the constitutional law previously has said that state legislatures are allowed to regulate and legislate. And hopefully, this goes nowhere. The Republican lawsuit invokes the unfounded independent state legislature theory, which was largely rebuffed by the U.S. Supreme Court's June 22, 2023 decision in Moore v. Harper, contended that voter-approved amendments regulating federal elections are an unconstitutional usurpation of state legislatures' rights to participate in lawmaking decisions under the Election Clause of the U.S. Constitution. The Supreme Court rejected that. But they're still trying. They got the gumption to keep fighting, even though they've been smacked to fucking back every time they've tried. Yeah, it's a bit frustrating.
It's like the Mighty Ducks or like whatever that like Bad News Bears. We're going to turn everything around, even though we don't know exactly what we're doing. Kind of bullshit.
Right, yeah. Pretty much exactly is. Just like, no, please stop. Nobody likes you.
Anything else we have to cover today?
We have some movies to talk about.
Movies.
Mm-hmm. Quick one to start us off here. The Burial released this week. It is apparently inspired by true events. A funeral home owner, Jeremiah O'Keefe, played by Tommy Lee Jones, enlists the charismatic, smooth-talking attorney Willie E. Gary, played by Jamie Foxx, to save his family business. The unlikely pair bond while exposing corporate corruption and racial injustice in this story. It is doing very well. 91% from critics, 84% from audiences. It seems like it's good. A number of critics specifically point out Jimmy Foxx's performance as being noteworthy and very good. That's pretty cool. Tommy Lee Jones is also, of course, a very storied actor. And I'm sure they had some good performances. Apparently, a balance of comedy and drama.
I like Jamie Foxx in anything. He's like
Mm-hmm.
top 3 in my opinion.
He's very good.
Like honestly, the reason No Way Home was like the last good MCU movie, Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, he was great in it.
Yep. Everybody says it was a Spider-Man nostalgia. No, it's just fucking Jamie Foxx being allowed to be Jamie Foxx.
Also releasing this week is the Taylor Swift The Eras Tour documentary.
No, I think it's actually a concert movie.
That's what it's listed as a documentary, but I think that's because of a lack of a better marking, a genre marking.
Kyril, what is your opinions
Yeah.
on Taylor Swift? And please say it loudly and concisely into the in the microphone.
I think Taylor Swift is fine.
Then you have chosen
I have
death.
no I have no particular I don't actually think I've listened to a Taylor Swift song in like 5 years. I don't listen to the radio.
You want to know something kind of funny I said about Taylor Swift once?
What's that?
I said she's a perfectly good artist when I have no control over the aux chord or the like what's coming up next.
Yeah, I mean, I respect her work ethic a lot. Everything I've ever heard about her sounds very positive. She seems to genuinely care about the people that she works with, that are part of her crew when she's on tour. Every interaction I have seen with her has seemed to be like like nothing wrong, right? Like
Yeah.
what is there negative to point out? She seems like a great individual to work for. She seems to genuinely care about the people she works with. I am just, don't really care about pop music that much. I'm sure it's fine.
Listens to Daft Punk. I don't listen to
Hey, hey,
popular
hey, hey,
music.
hey now.
Hey,
You watch yourself.
wait,
I'm
what?
coming for you. I'm coming for you.
I'm just saying. I know
I would
you're
not call Daft Punk pop music though.
okay. So this is what I was getting to. Daft
Yeah.
Punk, while they are house music,
Yeah.
made the greatest pop album of all time. Now, I'm not saying that makes them a pop band, but I
Sure.
said, say, Random Access Memories being a pop record and the best one at that. Just, there's an association to it.
I suppose. Damn you, Pharrell.
What are you talking about? He's like the best part of that album.
No, he's
Pharrell?
not. That's the best part's Daft Punk. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, it's Niles Rodgers to be exact.
Okay,
But
that's fair.
I love Niles Rodgers.
Pharrell
But
is very talented as well.
that whole album is just
Yeah.
like layered with so many good guest spots.
Yeah, it is very good.
Yeah.
Um, the thing that I find really fascinating about this movie
Yeah.
thing existing at all, this is the kind of thing that I would expect, like even like just 5 years ago. These sorts of concert movies have been around for a very long time. I don't think I've ever seen one release at the same time as that concert is happening. Like particularly for iconic concerts, such and such at Red Rock, so and so at Madison Square Garden kind of events. Big things where, they're like historic. Not at all uncommon for them to make uh, documentary type hit recordings of the event itself to record to, show later for posterity, for money. Seeing one happening as the concert tour is happening still feels really gross to me.
I feel
Where,
like it's this thing the pop industry has been getting really good at, where they
yeah,
can make a wave of hype on command and ride it
yeah,
out.
I don't like the idea of, as expensive as a real ticket to a real Taylor Swift show is, the idea that you can buy a movie ticket instead and see the same performance in an objectively worse quality and worse setting is good in that it makes that performance accessible to more people, but it's also kind of gross in that our world has gotten to the point where even a concert ticket is outside the reach of many people.
I agree with you a lot on the concert ticket part, especially with Ticketmaster being the fucking
Yeah.
ugly, disgusting vermin that they are.
And credit for Taylor where it's due. She has made genuine effort to try and work around those systems.
Yeah, no, I feel like this is exactly a response to that. Because,
Yeah.
like,
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure she said she was, like, kind of in hot shit with Ticketmaster because, like, a whole bunch of scalpers bought, like, Era's tour tickets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely did. But it strikes me the same way, and this is always going to be the case, right? Like, uh, but it feels different, right? Think sporting events where there's obviously different tiers of tickets that are available for purchase. You know, you can be right up like ringside or whatever. You can be in the shit tier. You can get a box seat, but you're still seeing the same thing ultimately, right?
Yeah.
This is being presented almost as the same thing when it's not. It's
No.
it's it's like the Apple Vision Pro whatever. Apple was trying to get into the sports licensing business so that they can use that to sell tickets and you can like sit ringside while you're sitting in your home. And that's cool, but that's also not the same experience. And it feels like it's a very in as digital our world is, I'm surprised to see such a physical example of like this tiered difference in quality depending on what you can afford.
It feels like a poor person tax in some regards to me
Yeah.
because there's this quote I really like. I just read it like last week. It's a Marshall McLuhan quote. You won't believe what he's talking about, but I will just refer to like the quote for now. To a jazz musician, recorded music is stale music. And I've
Mm-hmm.
been kind of thinking that way with all recordings lately, especially after seeing Bob Dylan last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it is a staler version of the same experience.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, it's something that unless you are able to play the Ticketmaster game, no one, it's out of your reach.
Right.
By the way, McLuhan was referring to photographs when he said that, which is very interesting.
Interesting. That is very interesting. I find it hard to disagree, honestly.
Really, if like want a mind fuck, go listen to like a Marshall McLuhan.
Mm.
Um, a lot of like the stuff he says on media technologies, it's you just like spend like 5 minutes thinking about it, and it's like
Yeah.
just mind fucky. Anyway,
Anyway, they put out a new Exorcist movie.
speaking of stale,
Speaking of stale, so yeah, this takes a little bit of history to actually get the full breadth of this. Back in 2021, Universal bought the rights to the Exorcist franchise for $400 million.
damn.
Sorry, they bought the rights for a trilogy for that money. That's a lot of money, which is kind of weird because the Exorcist movies have never been especially big money makers.
No.
And new released, The Exorcist Believer marks both the best opening for an Exorcist movie ever and is also incredibly underwhelming financially, making $27.2 million in the US, $45 million globally, with a alleged $30 million production cost, not including marketing. Comes in on Rotten Tomatoes with a whopping 22% from critics, 58% from audiences. And with how many horror movies we've seen come up here, for the horror space, that is a very low audience score.
And horror fans don't even have that much of standards.
That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah.
The floor for what's a good horror movie is, or what's a bad horror movie is very low. You have to dig to find stuff that's like pretty universally agreed to be not great.
Oh well.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing they are making two more movies on this. They might get it right next time.
Let's see if I can find out who it was. I think it was from Red Letter Media. They did a review of it, and it was very funny. They talked about a parody that was put out of the original Exorcist movie that had one of the sort of punchlines for that movie being that uh, they needed more religions for the exorcism that they needed to do. that they didn't have enough religions to do this new exorcism whatever thing. And then we get the exorcist believer, and that's basically what they do apparently.
They made their own religion just for that.
No, no, no. They needed more religions. So they got like Buddhists, I guess, and not technically voodoo, but it was basically voodoo.
I would be fucking offended if I was a practitioner of any of those religions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of shark jump-y, but amusing still.
Anything else for the show today, my good sir?
I did want to mention that they're apparently doing a PS5 Slim,
That's interesting.
and would you know, it sure just looks like a PS5.
But
Who would
slimmer?
have seen it coming? Not really. Probably a little bit. It doesn't look much slimmer. Though I guess the PlayStation 5 is kind of massive now. It's one of those interesting things with the current generation of consoles is they're both so big, it really kind of like undercuts a bit of the argument for getting a console over just a PC at the same price. Because they have gotten quite large now.
Interesting.
But I think that's all.
Well, definitely a lot better than we were 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm Mr. Orion, and I've been a Schmo.
I'm Cairo, and I've met a Schmo.
And, well, we're going to go solve mysteries now with a lovable Pooh Bear. Expect that to come out never.